Good morning, everyone. My name is Louise Taylor from the Council Engagement Team at the Office of Local Government. I'd like to welcome you all and begin the webinar by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting today. I'm personally joining from the beautiful lands of the Barramadigal people on Darug Nation. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging and recognise and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of New South Wales. Today, our OLG Fresh Start team will provide important information about round 3 of the Fresh Start Grants program. Just a note, if you'd like to discuss rounds 1 and 2, the previous rounds of the program, please reach out to the team separately. We will be putting the contact information for the Fresh Start team in the Q&A section. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before we start. For this webinar, your cameras are turned off and your microphones have been muted. Now, these can be turned on by our conveners if needed. If we do turn your microphone on, please remember you will still need to unmute yourself before speaking. The chat function has been disabled for the webinar, and instead, as mentioned before, you'll see the Q&A function at the top of your screen. And you can use this panel to ask questions throughout the webinar, which will be answered during the Q&A session straight after the presentation. Some of you have already submitted questions during the registration process. Thank you for that. And some of those questions have been incorporated into the presentation, so they'll be addressed as part of that presentation. We do have some that will be answered during the Q&A session. And if you can't use the Q&A panel, you may raise your virtual hand if you're unable to do that. Right, that's housekeeping done. So I'd now like to welcome Brendan Hook, the manager for the Fresh Start program. Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you, Louise. And yes, good morning, everyone. Just want to acknowledge Louise's acknowledgement of country there. And today I'm coming to you from the Dome at Sydney Olympic Park, where I'm attending the Western Sydney Careers Expo, a great event with some 20,000 plus students coming to the Careers Expo over 3 days. And we're here presenting and promoting the Fresh Start program and careers in council. So it's a very exciting few days out here talking to young people about what careers they may want in local government. We're here today to obviously talk about the Fresh Start program and in particular round 3, which is launching very, very soon. What will be covered in today's session is the overview of the Fresh Start grant program, overview of the application process for round 3, including critical dates and the grant guidelines and the application form. We'll give a bit of a round 1 and round 2 program update. We'll revisit the stakeholder toolkit, discuss any pre-submitted questions and also do a live Q&A at the end of this with any questions pertaining to round 3. Around about slide 10, I'll introduce you to Robin Dorowski. Robin will be taking us through a little bit about the grant guidelines, the updated grant guidelines, and also around some changes that have been made to the Smarty Grants application process. So pretty simply, the program overview and the objectives of the program, they are there to build capacity in councils and to build a stronger local government sector. Within the program, we're also looking at increasing directly employed local government workforce and importantly, creating positive social outcomes by generating local education and employment opportunities and increasing employment and education opportunities for Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people. Everyone probably knows by now the overview of the grant is that we're funding 1,300 apprentices, trainees and cadets over 6 years to June 30, 2030. And this is all part of New South Wales Government's commitment to make apprentices and trainees 15% of the local government workforce. A little bit about rounds 1 and 2. We've had a very busy time over the last 6 months, but very, very happy to say that in round 1, we approved 642 positions, and you can see the breakdown of those positions via apprentices, trainees and cadets. In round 2, 368 positions for a total of just over 1,000 positions across rounds 1 and 2. And looking also at the breakdown between metro and regional, it's around about 62 to 36% breakup of where those positions have been approved. So very encouraging to see that there's a good split between metro and regional New South Wales. Round one positions, as you know, we close those off sort of at the end of April there. Very happy to say that round one positions, 481 individuals have started in council, and 147 positions rolled over to round two, and 14 positions were returned to the funding pool. So a very small amount returned into the funding pool. As it stands at the moment, we've had 8 resignations, a little bit around about 2%. So the retention rate at this stage is very high, and I congratulate all councils on working really closely with their apprentices and trainees and cadets at these early stages of employment. And the gender breakdown of 61 to 39% is very encouraging as well, considering that the vet sector sits around about 27%. So we do have a high female participation rate at the same time. Blue collar versus white collar, it's nearly very even, 51 to 49%, and very happy to see that 12% of applicants Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander are working in council as well. Just a little bit of a graph here to show you what some of the positions that were approved in round two. A lot of trades in there, obviously being apprentices, looking at civil construction, the parks and gardens. So that sort of horticultural area is been obviously quite popular. Diesel mechanics, plumbers, carpenters, and so on and so forth. So we've even got some really sort of niche areas in there around boilermakers and chefs. And plant mechanics as well. So it's really great to see that councils are looking at their skills and workforce needs. And yeah, we really encourage that, especially coming into round three. Round three key dates. Very excited. We're obviously here on the 27th of June undertaking these webinars. On Monday, applications will open on the 30th of June, and those applications will close on the 25th of July. As part of our continuous improvement process in the Fresh Start team, we took all the feedback from round two applications and consultations that were undertaken, and council advised us that a little bit of extra time for the application process would be really great. So this time around, it's around about a 4-week period, 1 week before the school holidays, through the school holidays, and then 1 week after. So applications will close on the 25th of July, and councils will be notified from the 25th of August of what they've been approved for in this application round. As part of some consultation that we undertook this year, we heard really loud and clear that obviously that sort of August through to December is a real peak recruiting time for young people. So we're quite excited that there is a long window for recruitment and onboarding for round three roles to start from January 1, 2026. All round two rollovers and round three positions, they all need to start by the 28th of February 2026. And in round three, we'll be funding up to 353 apprentice-only positions. So I'll just mention it again, it's an apprentice-only round for up to 353 positions. And importantly, and I also encourage this really strongly, it also covers school-based as well. So if you're looking to put on a school-based apprentice, that can be part of this round at the same time. Now I'm just going to hand over to Robin to talk you through the program guidelines and updates to the Smarty Grants application platform. Thanks, Rob.
So Robin, you're just on mute.
Great start. Thanks, Louise. Hi, everyone. Thanks for dialing in. A few updates have been made to the grant guidelines for round 3. So to highlight the changes, they relate to the dates for this grant round, the number and type of positions being funded, just reiterating Brendan's point that this is a apprentice only round, so no trainees or cadets. An updated wages table for the new financial year, so starting 1st of July 2025. Improved guidance around what is funded and unfunded within the award and in line with the funding agreement. Updated information regarding rollover of positions. Positions approved in rounds 1, 2, and 3 will need to commence employment by the end of February next year, as Brendan was saying, and that there will be no rollover of positions across those rounds. And also an update to the end of financial year reporting in line with the funding agreement. We've also made some changes and improvements to the application form for round 3. Thanks to everyone for feedback from round 2. So that feedback has been incorporated into these improvements. So for round 3, we'll be using the occupation standard classification for Australia, OSCA for short for the position. The purpose of this is to standardise it. There is a smart choice list that you can see on the right. So you can select from that list. If the position that you're looking to apply for is not on in that list, feel free to reach out to the team, or there's also a other field there where you can enter. So we've added this question, which allows councils to apply for multiples of the same position instead of having to repeat all the information if it's the same position. So continuing on from rounds 1 and 2, we do encourage councils to use smart and skilled training providers to access that government subsidised training. We have added to the list there TAFE Digital, as we recognise that that's a training provider that's utilised by quite a few councils. We do encourage early engagement with training providers to confirm that they will be delivering the training and to be able to manage early if there's a need to identify an alternative training provider. And if council is experiencing any challenges with that, please also do reach out to us. Then we do ask also for council to confirm that the position that is being applied for would commence from 1st of January 2026 or later. So the assessment criteria for round 3 remains the same as the previous rounds. There is a word limit for each of these questions of up to 150 words. So we do ask council to be concise in its responses. We do recognise that there are councils that have a desire to recruit for identified roles. For example, Aboriginal called an individual with a disability. So here we council can flag if that's their intention. There is also information there about the process that's involved. We will also be adding to the OLG Council portal and including in the next Fresh Start newsletter more information about the process for applying for that exemption to the Anti-Discrimination Act.
Robin, if I could just interrupt there was just some feedback about when requesting permission to advertise positions as ATSI, that approval from Anti-Discrimination New South Wales took about 3 weeks to receive. So just that was some feedback from Lara for other attendees wanting to know that process took a few weeks. So sorry, just thought I'd interrupt to let you know.
Thanks, Louise, and thanks, Lara. We are aware of that it can take some time. If councils are experiencing a delay, please do reach out to us and we can see if there's any assistance that we're able to provide in that respect. Here, we just ask for council to confirm the number of apprentice positions they're applying for in this application. The assessment criteria related to inclusion, diversity and social outcomes. So the application form in this round, there is the question where council can select if it's targeting a specific cohort, and then there's this question which would be familiar to most as it was in the previous rounds, but this is on a separate page, so council will only need to complete it on the one occasion, not for every position. This section or question on budget, so it is a requirement to include it on the Smarty Grants platform, but it is not being utilised for this application form. So please just enter 0 and then continue with the application. There's no need to be doing any calculations. And I'll hand it back to Brendan. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Robin. Thank you very much. So yeah, just recapping the key dates for round 3, applications to open from Monday, 30th of June for 4 weeks and to close on the 25th of July, with provisional approval from the 25th of August, and recruitment can commence from notification of that provisional approval. And any recruits from this round can commence employment from 1 January 2026, and the funding will commence from that employment start or after the 1st of January 2026. And all new recruits, as I mentioned before, must commence employment by the 28th of February 2026. Councillors may remember that we've spoken previously around the stakeholder toolkit for any communications around local community or any marketing that you may be doing. We developed this to just support council with any of their in-house activities when promoting the program. We are producing new material for round 3, being an apprenticeship only round, and we look really forward to releasing that very shortly. And in particular, the digital assets to be developed will be focused around apprentices recruited in rounds 1 and 2, with a particular focus on Aboriginal and culturally and linguistically diverse recruits. Some councils have reached out to us in the past to see if we would like to use any candidates, and we really welcome that. So if you have any recruits from rounds 1 or 2 that would like to be promoted in the program, please reach out to the team, and we'll also update that in the next round of Fresh Start newsletters that will be coming out. Stakeholder toolkit, which is loaded into the portal, has a myriad of banners and photos, etc., that can be used, and there's also a draft expression of interest form that councils can use if anyone directly contacts council. And we in the Fresh Start team are also just redefining a way that we can liaise with councils with any expressions of interest that come through to us. I can tell you just from the Careers Expo that I've been attending since yesterday, a lot of students are going to the link of the expressions of interest within the Fresh Start program, and we look forward to being able to share those particular individuals with councils. They seem pretty keen, some of the ones that I've been speaking to over the last 48 hours, about getting a career, and quite excitingly, a lot of the young people I've been chatting to are speaking about trades. And so it'd be very exciting to see new recruits come on board in January. A little bit about existing support for Aboriginal recruits, because there are a lot of services available out there, and look, a lot of you may have heard about these already, but for apprentices, there is the Barangira program, which is all about culturally appropriate mentoring. There's the Elsa Dixon Aboriginal Employment Grant, and I understand that that's about to be relaunched again from the 1st of July. Your local apprenticeship centre or your local apprenticeship connect provider provides mentoring services as well. But if you're unsure about what's out there, please just reach out to the Fresh Start team, and we can point you in the right direction to those support services. The support services for young people that join council, it's becoming a very important piece of work that we're developing, because we're really mindful about trying to retain as many apprentices and trainees and cadets as possible. So please, reach out to us around those different initiatives that are available. And then going on from that, just want to get a little bit in about the workforce development area of the Fresh Start program. And everyone would probably be familiar now with the supervisor workshops that we've developed that have been very much, I guess, customised to council needs. And as part of the Workforce Development Working Group, which has, I think it's about 8 councils on there and a couple of industry stakeholders, these supervisor workshops basically equip supervisors with skills to support and mentor apprentices and trainees and cadets. And the learnings that come out of that have actually been written to the training and assessment qualification, and also to leadership and management units of competency. We've proposed 20 workshops between now and June 26 next year. And we've already held one out in Dubbo, and you can see all the lovely people from Dubbo there in the picture. It was an amazing and successful event with some really great feedback from all participants. And I think it was early this week we were up in Bellingen delivering another workshop, and and just around the corner we've got one in Sydney. And then we've got further ones in Sydney in September and December. So please reach out to Peter or the Fresh Start email address if you're looking to run an event just for your particular council, or if we can look at doing, where all councils coming together. So, I really encourage everyone to get into those supervisor workshops. But that's not to forget that training services in the Department of Education also holds half-day workshops, which really does focus around the regulatory side of the vet sector, and it talks to like training plans and how to manage those. So we can also assist you in working that through with training services if you want to go down the path of just a half-day workshop. That is it for me, Louise. So I might just hand back to you. Thank you, everyone. I really do look forward to round 3 opening up and encouraging councils to apply for this apprentice only round. And thank you for your time, and over to you, Louise.
Great. Thanks, Brendan and Robin. There are a few questions there. We do have some that have come through as the registration process, so I will just ask those ones at the beginning. The first question was from Julie at Rouse County Council. Julie has asked about reasonable timeframes for RTOs to provide training plans. What is considered a reasonable timeframe, and how would you suggest council can influence a quicker turnaround time?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. Thanks, Louise, and thank you, Julie. Training plans, training plans that are being developed in partnership with the RTO, generally from commencement of employment or from commencement of the training contract, should be around about 6 weeks. Sometimes they can take just a little bit longer, and that's purely just to do with the consultation on the electives that are chosen in that program. But generally speaking, they should be done in less than 3 months. If you're finding that they're not, you can reach out directly to your local training services office in your region. If not, just reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction, or a contact in that training services office who will be able to support you.
Great, thanks, Brendan. So Bronwyn from Tomorrow has asked, what happens if they don't fill any round 2 positions and push them forward to round 3? Does that impact their ability to be successful for round 3 applications?
Robin?
Yep. So a council can roll over positions that it has been provisionally approved for in round 2 to round 3. That will have no impact on their application in round 3.
Thank you. Inner West has asked if the focus is on apprenticeships in round 3, can it be applied for school-based apprentices and trainees? And if that process has been determined, how does the funding apply?
Great question. Thank you, Inner West. Really encourage school-based apprentices in this round. And the training is for the term is for the nominal term whilst they're in school. So if an individual starts, year 11, 2026, it'll go for year 11 and year 12.
Great, thank you. We have had a few questions, so I'll address them as one, as to whether or not there is likely to be a round 4, and if there were to be a round 4, would there be cadet positions able to be applied for? You able to address that, Brendan?
Look, I can, and I wish I also had a crystal ball, Louise.
Right.
Obviously, we've got to move through, we've got to conclude round 2, and we also will need to conclude round 3 before we can look at round 4 and those potential numbers. Yeah, so it's a bit of a watch this space at the moment.
Great, thank you. I will just mention to people too, we're just popping a short survey into the Q&A panel. 4 simple questions just for feedback for the webinar. If you wouldn't mind just if you have a few moments just to do that before you do log off. Just looking through, look, there is one for round 2. I think you'll be able to answer it quickly, hopefully. Can I confirm what is the last date for course enrolment for round 2? Asked Jen. Excuse me. We cannot find this on the website.
Sorry, what was the question again, Louise? Did you say?
Sorry, coughing. Can I confirm what is the last date for the course enrolment for round 2? We cannot find this on the website.
Okay, I guess I just want to break this down. It might be a question that you need to feed through to the Fresh Start team.
Sure.
Because we're sort of focused on obviously when the individual recruit starts employment, and then it's between, you know, the council and the RTO on when they commence their training. So please just reach out to the Fresh Start team on that question, just so we can get a little bit of clarity around that.
Great, thank you. And the contact details for the team are in the Q&A panel. Bianca says we already have approval for identified positions to be advertised. So wondering what selection in the Smarty grants they would select there.
Yep. So that's great, Bianca. Where council already has in place an exemption, just select just select yes for that question.
Great. Sharon has a question here. It's related to marketing and advertising. The funding agreement says we must give the department no less than 30 business days notice of any proposed publications, promotional and advertising materials or public announcements and activities in connection with the project. Does this include recruitment advertisements?
I'd have to go back in and obviously check the funding agreement. Happy for them to reach out just so we can give a very clear response on that one, if that's okay. Yeah.
That's fine. And we do have attendees details, so we can easily provide those to the Fresh Start team if needed for follow-up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bronwyn has asked, it is a round 2, so you may not be able to address this now. Can we commence employment for a round 2 candidate between July to February, even if we can enrol them in a course and or have a training plan approved before semester 1 2026 intake, because the course isn't offered in semester 2 this year, unfortunately?
Yeah, that's one of those real technical questions around, and obviously we've got to link that back to the funding agreement and the conditions of the wages. So again, happy to have that discussion offline. But at the same time, we're very aware that, you know, the recruitment market is tight. So when you get someone, you really want to employ them quick, but the training may not be available straight away. So please reach out to us directly on that one, because I know there is a difference in the training contracts that lists a training start date, and we may just need to look at how that works in line with the funding agreement as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Donna has asked, out of interest, she has an inquiry for their cadet communications officer and is wondering if the position could largely be remote while the student attends uni during holidays and some weeks to return to Grenfell is the location to work in the office. Donna's couldn't see any rules around this in the guidelines.
Robin?
I would say that's a matter for council as to how they, if they accept a employee working primarily remotely.
Great, thank you, Robin. We have another question about whether you would be able to advise why the focus is just on apprentices in round 3, Brendan.
Yeah, happy to answer that one. So obviously across rounds 1 and 2, the program had a target, as we know, of 1,300 apprentices and trainees and cadets. And across rounds 1 and 2, we've exceeded the amount of trainees and cadets at this stage, and we need to get the apprentices. I think off the top of my head, without going back to the slides, that we've approved between 300 and 350 apprentices to date, and we still need to focus on bringing on another 350 roughly to get up to the 700 mark, which is one of the, I guess, objectives of the program. And that's why it's an apprentice only round, because we've already got to our quota for trainees and cadets.
Right. Now, Kayla, I think Kayla may have been in the webinar yesterday and has asked about adult apprentices. And I think perhaps you'd like to take that offline, Brendan. You're following up that inquiry, and perhaps someone could reach out to Kayla about the adult apprentices with the T4 and T5 funding. Would that be okay if we tell
no worries.
Kayla that? Yep, terrific.
Yeah,
okay,
for
thanks,
sure, Louise.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Hope you understand. We just want to make sure that we are providing the right information for you. Kayla's also asked, when will we be receiving more information about submitting an invoice for round one funding?
That's a Robin question, that one.
Yes, thanks for the question. Thank you very much to the councils that have submitted a signed agreement, and for those that are yet to do that, a friendly reminder to get onto that. We are in the process of having OLG sign those agreements, and then we will be returning to councils the fully executed agreements with the purchase order number that is to be added to the invoice. So in short, we'll be in contact soon with instructions regarding invoices.
Great, thanks, Robin. Bronwyn has asked about the apprentice-only round. This is the first that Bronwyn has heard that it will be an apprentice-only round. Has there been any communication about that prior to this, Brendan?
Yes, there has been. Yeah. There was it was also mentioned at the ministerial announcement a month ago or something like that. But we also have mentioned, I think, previously through our newsletter, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. I hope that answers that, Bronwyn. I don't have any further questions there, Brendan and Robin, and thank you so much for being so available to answer those questions from the councils. I know they would really appreciate that. I think there was a question about the time being taken to respond to some of the inquiries, and I guess we know it's such a busy time for you, but you might just like to respond to that.
Yeah. If you have been waiting on a response for more than 2-3 days, please do follow up, and we will get to it at the earliest. And apologies that it is taking a bit more time than we had hoped to respond to emails. Just, I guess, yeah, please be patient with us and understand that there's at the moment a high volume of inquiries coming through related to rounds 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just want to say, look, we really appreciate feedback coming in from councils, and all the questions that do come in, and we do have a lot of emails that come in every day, and quality customer service charter is a focus of ours to respond as quickly as possible. But if you, like Robin just said, if you don't hear from us, please just reach out to us again to remind. But yeah, we do monitor our inbox every minute of the day, and yeah, it's quite a busy area. Yeah.
Yeah, and if need be, you can always call OLG as well, and we can refer the calls. Okay, well, I don't think there's any more questions. Oh, there might be one more actually here. Sorry, they come in. Julie has asked, we had an apprentice from round 1 recently leave. Can we apply for the position again in round 3?
Yes. by all means, council can apply for that position again. Yep.
Great. Okay. So the last question there is, will the slide shown today be available? And I can answer that, and I'll do that as part of my wrap up now. So thank you to Brendan and Robin for today's informative and important presentation. Recording of this webinar will be uploaded to the OLG website in the coming days, and as the resource for that, the presentation slides will be available as well. So that'll happen in early next week. That should be online through our council portal on the OLG website. And if you don't already have a login for the council portal, you will need to do that using a newsouthwales.gov.au email address. So any council address is fine, and it's quite a quick process. Having said that, I'd like to thank everyone for taking time out of your very busy schedules to join us today. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and this webinar has now concluded. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.